goodness. How did you get up here ahead of me again like that? You know, you shouldn't hide in the shadows like that. You could scare a person half to life. But anyway, oh, it's okay. I forgive you. It's Dr. Lady here once again with you in the Masked Fan Attic, home of many strange and interesting, wonderful things like creepy artifacts and strange magical items. And, oh, well, here's one right over here. For example, just by coincidence, do you remember in the Lord of the Rings stories, there was the magic sword? Do you remember that? It had an enchantment about it where it would light up and glow if it was in the presence of an orc. Well, I have a very similar one, but mine is much rarer, much harder to find, because I have the sword that lights up and glows in the presence of a dork. Now, not everybody has one of these. Okay, it's obviously broken, or has a curse on it or something. Never mind about it. Where was I? Oh yes, masks, I know. Guess what I have for you this week in the Masked Fan Attic? No, not that. It is in fact one of the last products ever to come from the legendary and historic and wonderful Don Post Studios. It was the Don Post Pumpkinhead. That's spelled like pump for pump and kin for kin and head for head, just like you can see on the official movie logo with the still image tag that came with it. Now, as you may or may not know, Don Post Studios was, well, closed its doors basically in 2012, and this was actually in the 2012 catalog but never officially went into production beyond a few copies, which are called in the biz factory samples, you see. And Pumpkinhead, well, if it had come to fruition, pumpkin's not a fruit though, if it had come to Gordition, the Pumpkinhead mask would have been, you know, available at Halloween 2012 and presumably sometime thereafter. But since Don Post Studios was bought and, well, what's a nice way to put it? Killed? Closed down permanently in 2012. That was not to be, and this would have been one of the last products. Now this is, of course, based on the movie Pumpkinhead. There have been a bunch of sequels, but the first one's still the best in my book. And I have a lot of books. I don't know if you know, these boxes are all full of books. So, but in all of my books, the first movie was the best one. With Lance Henriksen back in 1990? 91, 89, 90, I don't know. Whenever the first Pumpkinhead came out, I'm sure we'll have that corrected with the caption here by the time you see this. I'm not sure exactly what year. But anyway, it was a great film and a great monster. I think one of the best of the latter day monsters, right up there with such earlier man-in-a-suit classics as The Creature from the Black Lagoon, for example. And this beautiful, beautiful sculpture was done for Don Post Studios by a magnificently talented artist named Bruce Spalding Fuller. And well, the detail on it is fantastic. As you can probably see, it's very detailed all around. It's a pretty good sized, well, look at it compared to my head. It's pretty large. It's a large mask. And you can actually wear it. It has foam filling in part of the cranium here, in the back and in the top, just to sort of keep it, you know, in its proper shape so it doesn't get floppy because it's so big. And the reason it would get floppy is the bad news. This mask was nowhere near the quality that collectors had come to expect from Don Post masks. They were made in China, I believe. Very thin, balloony rubber, but such a beautiful sculpture and well, such a classic character. I'm sure everybody would have wanted one had they come out. And not only the Bruce Spalding Fuller sculpture here, but you were also supposed to be able to get two arms, as Wolfie would say, 2 arms to go with your Pumpkinhead mask. And these also, of course, Don Post. Now these, I don't think these were actually sculpted by Bruce Spalding Fuller. I think he might have kind of roughed out the basic armatures for them, but then somebody else did the textural stuff and the wrinkles and so forth. But got these wonderful, gigantic Pumpkinhead hands with the big, cool, curved, shiny claws. They're kind of cool. Although I don't know what they were thinking in not making the fingers foam-filled. The reason these fingers look so nice on this production you're watching right here is because I carefully stuffed them out into shape using, I kid you not, little wadded up plastic shopping bags like you get at Malwart and Kroger's and places like that. Without that, they're kind of like a big floppy limp noodle kind of a thing, and you can't appreciate how beautiful the sculpting and detailing is unless you stuff them out into shape. They really should have been partly foamed, particularly since they're kind of useless as hands as far as wearing. They really should have been, I think, should have been planned to be marketed as more of a display item, a collector's item, rather than something wearable, because, you know, let's be honest here, unless you are Pumpkinhead, you're not going to be able to do much with your hand in a big hollow Pumpkinhead hand like this. You could get your hand up into it, but the fingers are still like these floppy limp noodles on there, so you can't really manipulate them very well. So if you are lucky enough to get hold of one of these, I recommend stuffing it out into shape carefully to make sure all the various contours and angles are you know, filled out properly. I recommend keeping them for display. Now, here's the scary part. Even scarier than that. I'm not absolutely certain how many of these were made, but the word on the street, which is written in chalk, by the way, down on the graffiti, the word on the street is that there were only maybe 15 or so sets ever produced before Don Post Studios was unceremoniously shut down because of the buyout from Gemmy Industries, by the way, who also make tons of wonderful seasonal stuff, but they don't really make masks, but they make lots of plastic novelties and inflatables and other really great stuff for Halloween and Christmas and all sorts of seasonal stuff. But anyway, Gemmy Industries bought Don Post Studios and shut it down, basically. In a nutshell. There's more to it than that. That's the basic fact of the matter. In 2012, and Pumpkinhead and his hands never went into production beyond those 15 or so original sets just made as factory samples. And that's a shame, because Bruce Spalding Fuller did such a wonderful job with the sculptural part of the project. Although, again, disappointing quality-wise, but still a very cool thing to have if you can find one and keep it stuffed into shape, or maybe foam fill it or something, so that it holds its intended shape and can scare people in more Halloweens to come. And until next time, remember, if life is bringing everything at you coming your way, you might be driving in the wrong lane. No, I don't think I said it right either.